The sun had just risen in eastern Burkina Faso. A gentle breeze swept across the dry road, making the leaves rustle like soft whispers. In a quiet town not far from the forest edge, President Ibrahim Traoré prepared for a journey. He was visiting a nearby village where the people had been waiting for him for weeks. They had decorated the village square with fresh paint, drums, and food. Children were practicing songs, and the women were busy cooking in large pots. President Ibrahim, a young, kind-hearted man, smiled as he stepped into the black car waiting for him. His convoy, 3 other cars filled with bodyguards, was ready. They were all dressed in clean, dark uniforms, their eyes sharp and alert. Just before they left, Idrissa, his closest advisor, whispered, "Your Excellency, may I suggest we take the forest road today? It's faster, half the time in fact." Ibrahim paused. "Is that road safe?" Idrissa smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. "It's completely safe, sir. I've sent scouts ahead." The driver looked unsure. "But that road hasn't been used in weeks." Idrissa raised a brow. "Are you questioning a presidential decision?" The driver quickly bowed. "No, sir." Ibrahim sighed. He trusted Idrissa. After all, they had fought together when the country was in trouble. If Idrissa said it was safe, then maybe it was. And so, they turned onto the narrow forest road. At first, the road was quiet. Dust followed behind their wheels like a small cloud. Birds chirped from the tall trees. But after some minutes, the forest grew too quiet. No birds. No crickets. Not even the sound of monkeys. Something felt wrong. President Ibrahim leaned forward. "Why is it so quiet?" Nobody answered. Then suddenly the car stopped. There, in the middle of the narrow road, stood a cow. Not just any cow. It was white, large, and completely still. Its eyes, dark and wide, stared directly at the president's car. It didn't move. Not even when the engines roared. Not even when the guards shouted. The driver honked once. Twice. 3 times. Still, the cow didn't move. One of the guards stepped down and waved his hands. "Go away. Go." But the cow simply turned its head slowly and stared at the soldier. The man stopped in his tracks, as if frozen. President Ibrahim stepped out of the car. The forest wind was still. He looked at the cow, then back at the path behind it. Something in his chest twisted. A strange feeling. Not fear, something older. Deeper. He looked at Idrissa. "You said this road was safe." Idrissa smiled again, but now it looked forced. This is just a stubborn animal. Let the men chase it off." But Ibrahim didn't answer. Instead, he stared at the cow. Its ears twitched once. Then it let out a soft, low sound, almost like a warning. Ibrahim couldn't explain why, but his skin crawled. Something wasn't right. He turned to Commander Siku, his top guard. "Send 2 men to check the road, quietly. No one moves until they return." Idrissa stepped forward. "Sir, that's unnecessary." Ibrahim raised his hand. "That's an order." The 2 guards moved quietly, walking ahead on foot. They passed the cow carefully. The animal didn't move. It just watched. Its tail flicked once. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Suddenly, a voice came over the radio. "Sir, we found something. Please come." Ibrahim, Siku, and a few guards rushed forward. There, hidden beneath the dry leaves, was something terrible. Wires. Traps. Bombs. Landmines. 4 of them. Just under the road, where the convoy was supposed to drive. Ibrahim froze. His throat went dry. If the cow hadn't stopped them, if they had kept moving, they would all be dead. He turned to look back. The cow still stood there. Still watching. Siku whispered, "This wasn't a mistake. Someone planned this." Ibrahim turned to look at Idrissa. Idrissa wasn't smiling anymore. His face was pale. His eyes darted to the side. Ibrahim's chest tightened. The trusted friend, his advisor. He turned back toward the cow. The wind blew again. The trees rustled. And then, just as strangely as it came, the cow stepped to the side of the road. It didn't run. It didn't look afraid. It just slowly walked into the forest and disappeared between the trees, as if it knew its job was done. No one spoke for a long time. Even the birds stayed silent. The forest path remained still after the cow disappeared into the trees. President Ibrahim Traoré stood frozen. His heart beat slowly now, but his mind raced fast. "How?" he whispered. "How could a cow stop a president from walking into death?" No one had answers. Commander Sekou was already giving orders to secure the area. Soldiers spread out, carefully searching for more traps. Some knelt by the bombs with shaky hands, trying to disarm them. President Ibrahim stared at the spot where the cow had stood. He had seen many animals before. Goats, chickens, even elephants during his visits. But this cow, this one felt different. Like it knew something. "Let's go back," he said finally, his voice low. "Not through the forest. Take the old road." Everyone nodded. As they returned to the main road, Ibrahim looked out of the window. His thoughts were cloudy. Back in the capital, the news spread fast. President Ibrahim Traoré narrowly escapes deadly attack. A cow saves the life of Burkina Faso's leader. A miracle in the forest? Some people laughed. Some cried. Many called it a sign from the ancestors. Others whispered it was the spirit of a great warrior, come back in the form of a cow to protect the president. But Ibrahim stayed silent. Later that evening, President Ibrahim sat alone in his study. Rain tapped softly against the windows. The lamps glowed, casting warm yellow light across the floor. He picked up a small wooden box from his shelf and opened it. Inside were photos, pictures of his past. One showed him as a young boy with his grandfather, an old herdsman who had loved cows more than people. He remembered the stories his grandfather used to tell. "Cows are not just animals," he would say. "They see things we cannot. They remember what people forget." Ibrahim never believed those tales. Until now. His thoughts were interrupted by a knock. Commander Sekou entered, saluting. "Sir, we have confirmed it. The bombs were planted just this morning. Someone tipped them off that you would take that road." Ibrahim looked up slowly. "How did they know?" Sekou lowered his head. "We're still investigating." But both men already had a name in mind. Idrissa. The man who suggested the forest road. The man who said it was safe. "Where is he now?" Ibrahim asked. "He left the capital this afternoon. Disappeared. Took nothing with him." Silence. Ibrahim's hands clenched. He had trusted Idrissa with his life, through battles, in war rooms, and in peace talks. But betrayal had come quietly, wearing the face of a friend. "Find him," Ibrahim said, his voice sharp. "Find him before he hurts someone else." Sekou nodded and left. That night, as the president tried to sleep, he dreamed. He stood again on the forest road. The cow was there. But this time, it was speaking not with words, but with its eyes. Behind the cow, shadows danced. Dark, dangerous figures with sharp knives and evil hearts. The cow stood firm, blocking them with its body. The road behind Ibrahim was lit with golden light. The road ahead, where the cow stood, was full of traps. He woke up sweating. Was it just a dream? Or was it a warning? The next morning, villagers came to the palace gates. One of them was an old woman with tired eyes and a long walking stick. She asked to see the president. The guards refused at first, but when she said, "It's about the cow," they quickly let her in. She stood before President Ibrahim and bowed low. "Your Excellency," she said softly, "I know that cow." Ibrahim's eyes widened. "Do." "Yes. She belongs to my family. Her name is Zira. She has always been different. Never eats with the herd. Always walks alone. When storms come, she stands outside. When people cry, she comes close and lays her head on their laps." The woman took out a small folded cloth. Inside was a tiny bell. "This was tied around Zira's neck since she was born," she said. "Yesterday, we found it hanging on a tree branch, alone." Ibrahim held the bell. It was warm. "Do you know where she is now?" he asked. The woman shook her head. "She walks when she's needed, and disappears when her work is done." The president stared at the bell. Zira. The cow had a name. She wasn't just a cow. She was a protector. That evening, Ibrahim went outside the palace gates. Alone. No guards. No crowds. He stood beneath a baobab tree and looked at the road beyond. And then he whispered, "Thank you, Zira." The wind picked up gently, brushing through the trees. Somewhere far away, deep in the forest, a white cow stood at the edge of a cliff. She looked up at the moon, her dark eyes shining. She let out a soft, long sound, one that sounded like peace, like protection, like a promise kept. Then she turned and disappeared into the night. Days passed, but President Ibrahim Traoré could not forget. Not Zira the cow, and not the man who betrayed him. The name Idrissa now tasted bitter in his mouth. Commander Siku brought daily reports, but they were always the same. "No sign of him, sir." Then, one morning, Siku entered the president's office with different news. "We found him." Ibrahim looked up slowly. "Where?" "He was caught near the border. Disguised. Dressed as a peanut seller. But one of our men recognized him by the scar on his hand." Ibrahim nodded. "Bring him in. I'll speak to him myself." That afternoon, Idrissa was led into a small, quiet room. His hands were tied, his face bruised, but his eyes still had that same smile. The same friendly smile that once made him trusted. Ibrahim stood across from him. No guards. Just the two of them. "Why?" the president asked. "Why betray your own country?" Idrissa laughed softly. "Because loyalty doesn't feed a man's children." "You had everything." Ibrahim shouted. "I gave you my trust. My brotherhood. My future." Idrissa leaned forward. "And what did I get in return? Endless work? Empty promises? You sit in a palace, I sleep in a small house. You wear gold, I wear dust. But we were building together," Ibrahim said, pain in his voice. "We were rebuilding Burkina Faso, hand in hand." Idrissa's smile faded. "Hand in hand?" he repeated bitterly. "You held my hand with one, and held power with the other. I got tired of waiting." Silence. Then Ibrahim said something Idrissa did not expect. "I forgive you." Idrissa blinked. "What?" "I said I forgive you. But you will answer to the people you betrayed." Guards stepped in and led Idrissa away. But even as they dragged him out, he laughed. "Be careful, Ibrahim. It wasn't just me. Others are still smiling at you. And their traps are deeper than mine." That night, Ibrahim sat under the same baobab tree as before. He looked up at the stars, feeling small. So many questions lived in his heart. Who else around him was lying? Who else was planning in secret? Then he remembered Zira. She didn't speak with words. She didn't wear a smile. But she saw what others could not. The next day, Ibrahim called a private meeting. Only 4 of his closest advisors were invited. He watched their faces carefully as they spoke. One by one. One man, Minister Sango, kept wiping sweat from his forehead. Another, Madame Alida, kept glancing at the clock. "Do you all feel safe?" Ibrahim suddenly asked. They looked confused. "Of course, Mr. President," one replied. "Good," he said. "Because I don't." He placed a single photo on the table. It was a photo of Idrissa shaking hands with a foreign soldier. Everyone fell silent. "You see," Ibrahim continued, "the cow blocked the road, but she also opened my eyes." He turned to Sango. "Where were you the day of the forest meeting?" Sango stammered, "I was visiting my sick mother." "Strange," Ibrahim replied, holding up a paper. "Because this report says your car was parked outside Idrissa's house that morning." Sango went pale. Madame Alida stood up quickly. "Mr. President, I think we should." "No," Ibrahim said firmly. "I think it's time I clean my house." Guards entered. That day, 2 more traitors were arrested. But even after that, the president couldn't rest. Late one evening, he went back to the forest. Alone. He stood at the same spot where Zira had blocked the road. The soil had been dug up by soldiers, the traps removed, the danger cleared. But something deeper remained. He whispered into the wind, "Zira, wherever you are, I need your help again." Just then, a soft sound came from the trees. Crunch, crunch, turned. A white shape appeared. Zira. She walked slowly toward him, calm and quiet. Her eyes met his. And then she stopped, just a few feet away. "I knew you'd come," Ibrahim said, tears in his eyes. He walked toward her and placed his hand gently on her head. "You're more than just a cow. You're the truth." She blinked slowly. And then, without a sound, she turned around and walked away again. Back into the forest. Into the shadows. Back at the palace, Ibrahim made a new vow. To listen not just with ears, but with his heart. To watch not just for guns, but for smiles that hide secrets. And to trust the quiet warnings of nature, even if they come on four legs. Whispers filled the palace. Word spread fast that the president had uncovered traitors within his own circle. Ministers spoke in low voices. Soldiers stood taller when he passed. But Ibrahim Traoré felt no pride. Just a deeper silence in his heart. He no longer trusted handshakes. He studied every smile like a map hiding a mine. One morning, Commander Sekou approached with a document. "Sir, we received this from the northern border. Foreign aid trucks. They say they're bringing medicine and water." Ibrahim scanned the document. Everything looked clean. Too clean. "Send someone I trust to inspect it," he said. Sekou nodded. "You trust me?" Ibrahim raised his eyes slowly. "Then go." By nightfall, Sekou had left for the border. And by the next morning he hadn't returned. No message. No report. No word. That evening, Ibrahim stood in the war room, staring at the map of Burkina Faso. Lines. Borders. Dust. But none of it showed the true danger. He turned to his security chief. "Prepare the car. I'm going myself." "Alone, sir?" "Yes." "No convoy. No lights. Just me and the driver." "Sure." "Her." Ibrahim smiled faintly. "Zira." By dawn, they were on the road. Zira sat calmly in the back of a pickup truck, chewing lazily on dry hay. She looked like any ordinary cow. But Ibrahim knew better. They arrived at the northern checkpoint as the sun broke through the sky. The trucks were already lined up. Dozens of them. Painted white. Marked with medical logos. Ibrahim stepped out quietly, unannounced. The soldiers snapped to attention. Zira climbed down from the truck on her own. Walked past the men. Sniffed the air. Her ears twitched. Then she stopped. Right beside one of the 8 trucks. She didn't move. She didn't move. She just stood there, staring at the truck. Ibrahim approached it. "Open it." The driver hesitated. "Sir, it's just water and medicine." "I said open it." Guards yanked the doors wide. Inside, barrels. But not of water. Barrels of gunpowder. Boxes of rifles. Maps with red marks across cities. It was a trap. A silent invasion disguised as kindness. Ibrahim turned to the driver. "Where is Commander Sekou?" The driver's mouth trembled. "I don't know." Zira suddenly snorted and stomped once. Ibrahim didn't need more. Arrest them all. That night, Ibrahim sat beside a fire under the stars. Zira lay near him, resting. He looked into the flames and whispered, "What kind of world is this, where even water brings war?" Zira didn't answer, but her quiet presence gave him peace. And when morning came, news arrived. Commander Sekou had been found alive, tied up inside a warehouse, but breathing. Ibrahim stood tall. The cow had saved them again. But something inside him told him the war wasn't over. Only the masks had changed.